Yeah, good evening, Samuel, Husseina, and Tosin. How you guys doing?
Hey, Barry, how you doing? How's the day been?
Yeah, yeah, my day is cool. Benny, how you doing?
Good evening, Barry.
Yeah, hi Tosin. Good evening. Okay, so how has our code been so far? Have we been able to run previous codes? Benny, are you here with us? Kindly confirm you can hear me. Anyone?
I can hear you, Barry.
Okay. How's your code been?
I've not been able to run the last one we did in that last class, but the previous ones, I think I've run those ones.
Okay. Mr. Efosa, how about you?
Yeah, very. Good evening. Yeah, so I didn't join the last class because I was under the weather, so I couldn't even come to school last Saturday. So I'll try and watch the video, but I did follow up to the class before that. That was I think we didn't go to the class for last week Thursday, but up to last Tuesday, I followed up to that and I wrote my code for that.
Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. Did you encounter any bug?
No, not really. I followed you as you were doing yours, so. You can
Oh,
just watch the last video and follow this class. Okay.
all right, that's cool. Um, Mr. Samuel, how about you?
I didn't get your question. I stepped out a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, how's your code going? Have you been able to get up to the last
No, I've not. To
script?
be honest, I've not. But I'm just a work in progress. But I hope to jump out the classes I've missed and put everything together. Hopefully by tomorrow, I should be able to send most of the work I've done.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
To Michelle, how about you? To Michelle, are you here with us? Hussein, is your network good now?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
It's fine now. Thank you, Barry.
So how is your code to Michelle? Where are you
I'm at
currently?
home. I am
Yeah,
I'm still in the conditions, Sha. I've not had chance to do see lie, I've had chance, I've not just done it. But I'm still in the condition, the if while if else and yada yada like that.
of course, that's what chapter 4 is all about. Which particular one are you in?
I mean if else.
Oh, if else.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Hussein, how about you?
Well, I was not able to watch the video for last week Thursday. So I've not really done what we did on Thursday, truthfully. But I would see what I can do tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Well, let's proceed. So, last week we were able to start this program. Um, so last week, what did we even do last week? On Thursday, to be precise. All right, just to recap, we looked into dangling else problem, where we looked at citing that the else, the if statement follows the next, requires just one condition, right, for it to execute. But if you want to add multiple conditions, then we introduce the block. That was when we introduced block, where you could add multiple statements into it. As we have here, if student grade is greater than or equal to 40, print pass, else print student field, print this, print medium IT coordinator, you failed. We saw conditions where we're able to take out this statement outside the block, and it was able to run, but we had what we call a non-fatal logic error, right? So yeah, we're able to, where that's a scenario whereby your code runs, but it's running is bringing out the wrong output, right? Why the fatal error is when it doesn't run, and yeah, it crashes. What else did we look into? Then we started gradebook 6. So we have a question here. Let me minimize this. So we're looking into arithmetic. We're looking into the problem statement, where we have a class of 10 students took a quiz. The grade, which is integer, which is ranging from 0 to 10 for the quiz, are available to you as a programmer, right? Determine the class average of the quiz. So we looked into how do we go about this, what is expected, right? We know that average is, they said determine the average of the quiz. Average is all about totaling all the sums, all the values that you have, and dividing by the total number, right? That's how you get average and stuff like that. So we looked at some of the pseudo code statement that we could generate from there. We said, okay, we are going to declare our variables. We are going to initialize our variables. We are going to request for the sum, right? And we are also going to probably count the number of time we request, and also from there we can be able to calculate our class average and also print our average, right? So yeah, that's how we started. So we we created our class, and we named it Gradebook 6. We declared an instance variable, which is course name. So we wanted to probably assign a course name to probably program that we're trying to do. So we have our constructor, which have a string type of, which has a value type of string with name. We have our setter method. We have our getter method. Then we have a display message, right? So we just want to, a display method. We want to print out, welcome to computer science, MIT, your course is, we use our print formatter. We included our formatter specifier. Then we created our gradebook tester, right? Which have our main method. We have our objects, naming our object as my gradebook. Then we passed in the argument from the constructor that we've created here. We passed in our argument, and we said the string, the course name is MIT 804 Introduction to Java Programming, and we're able to call our object here to display our method. So that's basically where we stopped on Thursday, right? So yeah, so continuation of that program is to be able to solve what we're asked to do, right? We're asked to find the average of the class, right, of 10 students. So, and we also talked about we talked about counter controlled repetition. So we have counter control. So probably we're going to look into, obviously this code, we are looking into counter controlled repetition. If we have more time, we're going to look into sentinel controlled repetition. So counter controlled repetition is more like a repetition whereby you know the total number of time you are going to repeat that loop before you end the execution, right? So for instance, we already know that we are going to run this program for 10 students 10 times. Then after that, we end the program, right? So that's counter control repetition. But sentinel controlled repetition is you don't know the number of time you are going to run the program, right? And so how do your system end? When does it know when to end? So yeah, if time permits us, we're also going to write that logic. So before we proceed further, does anyone have any question, any reaction? All right, so in the absence of none, we'll proceed further. So to run our program, we're going to create a method and we're going to write all our program inside that method. So that's where the method is going to hold our logic, right? Then we'll test it in our grade book, in our tester class, and yeah, in our tester class. So as usual, public void. So want to so say probably want to get the average, right? Want to get the average, the class average, right? So could probably say we could say display class average, right? Yeah. So just as we've tried to highlight some pseudocode statements, so we have to declare our variables, right? So what are the variables that we are going to be declaring here? Tosin,
Yeah.
can you, the background sound? Yeah, thank you. So what are the variables that we are going to be looking into here, right? So first of all, in order for you to get your average, right, you cannot get average without your total score. You have to know the total score of the class, right? The total grade score. So you have to get the total, right? So total is one of the variables, right? And so total is one of the variables. You have to also know the grades, right? You have to be able to get the grades. So it's the grades that will form the total, right? So that's second one. You have to know the number of counts. You have to be able to know the number of counts, the grade count, right? you are requesting, you want to request for the grade count, you want to request for a 10 times, you want to request for input, right? So you have to know that, and you also obviously you have to calculate for the average. So those are the variables that you need to run this program. So we have to declare them, right? So from the question, it has already told us that the grades, they are integers, right? In the range of 0 to 1. So it means that we'll be using integers. It has already told us to use integers. So we want to look at the grades, right? Because we're requesting for grades. We talked about the total number of grades, right, which is total. We talked about the grade count that will help us to track how many times we've requested for the value. Then we'll want to look at the average, which they told us to calculate, right? So yeah. So now, in order for us to get the total, right, we have to initialize. Okay, yeah, it says initialize your variables, right? So the grade point, the grade will always change, right? Because the grade is what we'll be requesting from the user, right? We are not the one generating the grade. So we are requesting for the grade from the user. So we can't initialize that. The total, right? Total is at 0. We don't know the total. So we'll have to initialize the total at 0. So another thing you should note that let's see, hold on, let me type this. So total is initialized at 0. Then the grade point too. So the grade counter, right, want it to count for 10 times, right? Want to get value of 10, right? So we'll probably be initializing it at 1. So our grade counter is initialized at 1. Then our average, we can't initialize our average because we are getting our average from the total number of grade, right? The total number of grade over 10. So we can't initialize our average. So now, so the question says that a class of 10 students took this quiz. The grade for the quiz is available to you. Determine this, right? So in order for us to be able to get the total number, right, it means that we are requesting for values from the user. So when the users imputes a grade, we want that grade to be added to the total, right? And the system should count that one user have imputed a value. Then the loop goes again. It runs the program again. It adds the total to that same number, and the grade count goes from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3. So it repeats that process until it gets to the number of 10 that require, right? The 10th value, right? So that's why we call it a counter controlled. We already know the total number of time the program is supposed to loop, right? It's supposed to repeat. So in order for us to do that, we're going to use a while statement. So we looked at while in the previous, we looked at while statements in the last class where we did the while statements where we introduced these. We ran a program of product of 3, and we were able to run it until we got the first value that was above 100 and stuff like that. So if you missed it, you could go back to that recording to watch it. So now we're going to use a while statement because we want it to run over and over again until it meets the condition, right? So yeah, bring in the while. Then what are we saying? We're saying want the grade counter, want you to run as long as the grade counter is less than or equal to 10, right? So if it's less than or equal to 10, I want you to run this program, right? If it's less than, if the grade counter is less than or equal to 10, I want you to be able to request that a user should impute a grade. I want you to take that grade, total it, and I want you to increase the counter, right? So I want you to repeat that process until the grade counter is equal to 10. And when it's equal to 10, I want you to end that program, right? And proceed to, I want you to just end the program, right? So that is what we're looking at doing now. So while this is this, so I want you to, so in order for us to request for value from our user, you obviously know that we have to use our scanner function, right? So we use the scanner input is equal to new scanner system dot in, close that statement. So we'll now, let's probably print a statement that our users will know what to do. So print, yeah, so what are we telling them? Probably enter student grade, right? So just as one of our colleagues did on Saturday, that he used his data science to analyze, to get raw data of the student's grade, the percentage, blah blah blah, right? So yeah, enter student's grades, and yeah, want you to, we already said, we've already declared the variable as an integer. So we'll just call it, right? Grade is equal to input dot, yeah. So yeah, so we've told you that, or your request for the student. So when you request for it, we're now telling you that we now want total should now become the total plus that student grade that you've collected. Remember, we initialize our total at 0, right? So that's why I'm saying total will now become 0 plus that grade that you requested from the user, right? So yeah, so when you do 0 plus that, I want you to store it, save that value as, it will now become my total, right? Then after I finish doing that, I want you to now call our grade counter, and I want you to now increment it by 1, right? I want you to now increment it by 1. Remember, we initialize our grade counter as 1. So it means that this is the first iteration is doing. So when it does this, when it has stored this, I now want you to add 1 plus 1 for it to run the second loop, right? So it's going to keep repeating this loop. It's going to keep repeating this until until this value, if this value now equals to, if we now have grade counter is equal to 10, right? It will now end. It will now end the loop, right? It will now end this program and now go to the next thing we are going to do. So it means that we've gotten the 10 values, right? We've gotten all the values, the 10 values that we require. So after getting the whole values, what is the next thing that we're supposed to do? The question says that we should determine the class average. And to determine the average is the total over the total number. So remember that we've gotten the total that has been saved here, and we've gotten the total value because this counter has gotten up to 10. So in order for us to get the average is just simply total divided by 10, right? And that is the average Shikena. So that is what we are asked to do. So in order for us to now be able to display it, right? We want to be able to obviously display an answer. So we use our print statement, print system dot out dot print, right? So system dot out dot probably want to print out what the total number is, and want to also print out what the average is, right? So we could now total number of all the grades requested is we use our formatter specifier percentage %d. I will now put it as total. We'll put it as total. Where am I having error? Okay, I'm having error
I think
because
it's
I'm
the
using print instead of print.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly. So printf was supposed to use a print formatter. Who was that actually? Is that Busayo?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. So want to also now print out the average. System dot out dot print formatter, print format. Yeah, then I'll now see the class average is, yeah, then the percentage %d, comma, average, end of statement. Probably let me break the line here. Yeah, so yeah, so this is what our display class average methods is. So let's try to go and run it. Let's try to run that. So we'll call our my gradebook, then I have to call it display class average, and yeah. So let me just comment this because I don't want it to print out. I just want it to print out this stuff, right? So yeah. So when we run this, what do we have? All right. So it's telling us to impute, right? It's telling us to impute values. So let's have values. Let's have values. Are we together? You guys should give me values. We need 10 values.
Is it that the numbers must be below 10, or it can be any number?
No, any number, like
Okay.
probably this grades.
40.
Yeah, 40. We are supposed to impute.
Okay, we are supposed to enter 10 values. right?
Hold on. This is what is
Let me
happening.
get that place.
All right, let me go again. This is what is happening. We are running a counter-controlled program whereby it's telling us to calculate the average of 10 students. It has given us 10 students, so we already know that
Mm.
it's a
Okay, I missed
counter-controlled
that part.
program.
Now I understand.
So we have to determine the average of those 10 students, and we've written a program using the while function, and we're telling it that as long as the grade counter is less than or equal to 10, right? I want you to run this thing. Just keep running this thing. But the moment it is greater than 10, I want you to end the program, right? So now we have called our method, our display class method in our tester class. So what it's doing now is now asking us enter student grade. Oh yeah, now we've imputed the grade. Now the total was initialized at 0. So that 0 plus that grade, that 40 that we've written, it has been stored as total. And it has now counted this as, we initialized it as 1. It has now counted 1 plus 1 is now 2. It's now going back again to start afresh to run this program. That's why it's telling you to enter student grade again. So if we enter student grade as 52, it will go again.
Yeah. I understand now. Thank you.
All right, so you guys should give me values.
24.
You put one student to score 24.
Yes. Okay. 60.
Nobody wants to call A. Are you guys scared of A?
80.
80.
88. 99.
99. What else?
67.
67.
69.
Somebody scored 69 in 805.
71.
71. So how many have we
49.
how many have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. It said 41.
Okay.
All right. So you can see the moment it got to the 10th one, right? He had to terminate, and he had to terminate this program and go to the next program, right? You know, we talked about this thing, algorithm, and we talked about sequence execution and the likes, I think at the earlier chapter. So after executing this, he now had to go to the next program because it's done with this. It has gotten to the final condition, right? So he now had to now get the average total number over 10, and he now saved it. So it saved it stored it in average. Then he now went to the next program that says print the total number of score, total number of grade, which is total. So that's why I'm saying total number of all grades requested is this. This is the total number. And the class average, you now calculated the class average as that value. So I don't know if there is any question so far.
Yeah, hello, Barry.
Yeah, Mr. Fosa.
Yeah. Cool. Nice one. So, but I'm just wondering why the class average is 60, because if you do the division, is it because of the integer data type you used?
Okay, so that's a very intelligent question, right? So we're supposed to have like 60.3, right? So what
Yes.
happens? Yeah. So what happens in Java? What happens in Java is that when you divide two integers, right? So just as you know, when you divide, the total is an integer, 10 is an integer. So when you divide two integers, right? When you divide two integers, so the fractions, they are truncated, right? The fraction is neglected, right? So it chops it away. That's when you divide two integers. But there's a way in which you could be able to preserve that. Um, it's called this thing, cast operation, right? Yeah, it's called like cast operation. So let's say I want to get that value. So I could change this to um double, and so they call it this thing. They call it, yeah, it's a cast operation, right? They call it something casting. So with this now, right? You see that, okay, let's run the okay, yeah, you guys should give me value. So let's run this program again. Let's see. Give me values. Someone should snaply give me values.
Okay, 80,
80,
99,
99,
61,
61,
69,
9,
24,
24,
61,
61,
77,
7,
88. Oh, I've
88,
said 88 before. Okay, 49.
49,
Oh, 59.
59.
Ah,
Formatter issue.
is that from? I think it's that.
Formatter issue, yeah,
Oh,
formatter issue.
oh. We're
Formatter
supposed to
issue.
change that D.
Yeah, to F.
Yes.
Formatter issue.
For float.
Yeah, so I have to run the program again. So let's run it again. Values.
88,
88,
64,
64,
69,
69,
72,
72,
41,
41,
50,
50,
67,
67,
70,
70,
under 70.
another 70 for you and your friend.
Yes. 81.
81. Yeah,
90 for me.
Yeah. He
it's
said 90
over.
for me.
So you can see now, right? The total is this,
Yes.
and you can now see he has his it has calculated. Yeah. Mr. Foster, are you good now?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's basically it. So is there any question?
To make a point. Because
Alright,
we
go
have
ahead.
made all these our grade to be integers. So if
Yeah.
somebody scores 67.5, it won't capture it. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, because you've already initialized your variable as an integer. The question told you that the values are integer.
Okay.
The question told you that the values are integer. So and you've initialized it as an integer. But if you want to be flexible, then you can change it to, you have to change all of them to double.
Double.
Yeah, if you want to get that, right? So that
Okay, we can play around with them.
yeah, you can play around with it. Okay. So so we're going to look at probably the same. We're going to look at the same we're going to look at the same problem, but we are now going to look at it. This is a counter control repetition. So we're going to look at the sentinel control repetition. So the difference between them is that for this counter control, you know the total number of loop you are supposed to execute or operate, right? Or run. You know the number, you know that it's 10. But in the sentinel control, you don't know. You don't know the total number, right? The total number is dependent on the user, right? So you're going to write your program. You're going to write your program to be able to handle that, right? So yeah. So probably we'll have to say probably I'm going to do gradebook 7. Okay, let's do gradebook 7 and let's see. But time has gone, so we might not write. We'll just copy some codes and paste them, some code that we don't really need, and write just the program for that this thing. So let's call it gradebook 7. Okay. Yeah, gradebook 7. So I want to just copy. I want to copy these other methods, right? Just want to copy these methods. They don't really have much to do with our program, right? Yeah. So as you can see, right? So the name of your constructor must be the same thing with the name of your class. So gradebook 7, that solves it. Let me create my tester. Gradebook tester 7. Yeah, so let me just copy the same thing to avoid us taking more time. Paste this. I want to delete this. Yeah. So let me run this program so I make sure that our code is running. For
Oh,
that,
the
okay.
gradebook 6 you got.
Yeah. Thank you. No, it's not okay. Thank you. It means I'm calling another book. Yeah. So let me run this. Let me change this stuff. Let me see. Then Sentinel control. Repetition. Continuous control repetition. Repetition. Okay, so let me run this. Yeah, welcome to MIT. Welcome to Computer Science MIT program. Your course is MIT 804 Sentinel controlled repetition. Okay, it means that we're good, right? So we'll create our class, public. We'll create our method. Yeah, public void. What did we call that before? Call the display. Display class. Average, right? So we've created created. Yeah, so we've created our method. We've created our method to receive this logic, right? So obviously, still the same thing that we said, right? In order for us to get that, we have to declare our variables, right? Which is still the same thing, right? So we have to declare our grade because it's still the same solution we are doing. We have to declare our total, our grade counter, and our average. So let's just copy this. We've explained that already. And let us paste it, right? So the second thing we're supposed to do, the second thing we're supposed to do is to initialize our variables, right? We already talked about grade. We're not initializing it because we're requesting it from, let me just go here. We already talked about grade because we're not initializing it because we are getting it from the user. Our total is initialized at 0. Total is initialized at 0. Our grade counter, right? Our grade counter is initialized. So our grade counter is initialized at 0. So initially here we initialize our grade count at 1 because we know that we just wanted to request for 10 value, right? Wanted request for 10 inputs, so which is from 1 to 10. So we initialize it at 1 as the first this thing. But here we're initializing it at 0. Why are we initializing it at 0? Because we don't know if the user will have a value, if the user will want to run the program, right? So we don't know if the user is going to run the program, or probably the user changes his mind and terminates the program. So we'll have to start it at 0 because in order for the program to run, it is dependent on the user, right? So that is why we are initializing it at 0. So now, just like we said, in order for the program to run, it is dependent on the user. So, when you call sentinel value, right? So when it comes to, so just like the last program we did, we knew the total number of time that the program is going to run, right? And we knew when it was going to end. That it is why it is called a counter-controlled repetition. But for this, that you don't know when it's going to end, you need something to identify. You need something that the system is going to recognize to say, okay, once I see this, I know that the program is going to end, right? So for example, in our online section, in our virtual class, right? The moment the lecturer's time is up, right? And my hand is, the moment the lecturer elapses his or her time and I raise up my hand, the lecturer obviously know that, okay, for the course rep to raise up his hand, it means that probably her time is up or his time is up, and the lecturer now, identify, okay, my time is up, we have to end this and continue next time, right? So that my hand being up is an identity, is a signal to the lecturer that if my hand is up by this time, then you know that your lecture has ended. So it's the same thing. So your system needs something to identify. It needs a signal, right? It needs a signal to identify that, okay, I want you to end this program, right? I want you to end this program. I don't want you to run again. So what that is called, it's called the sentinel values, right? The sentinel values. So that's the value that if you impute the value, the system will know that, okay, I am going to end this program. I'm going to stop this program at this point. And for integer, that value is -1, right? So that value is -1. So the moment you put -1, the system knows that, okay, I am to terminate this program at this point in time, right? I don't need to run this program anymore. So this is my sign. This is my value to end this program. So now you will know that in this program, when we finish um, initializing our value, we just went to our while process to run this, right? Because we know that the system was run 10 times. But in this case, we don't know if the system even wants to run. Maybe we just try to start the program and we decide to change our mind that we don't want to run the program, right? So that's why we are initializing it at 0, because there's every possibility that this system will not run, right? So in order for that, we have to request for value first. So when we see that the value is valid, then we can now enter our while loop to run the program. But if we see that it is not valid, right, we terminate the program. I don't know if you guys understand that explanation. Are we together? Mr. Kudus, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm Barry.
Okay. Oruma, are you here now? I think Keme just logged in and she's not here. Hussein, you've been quiet. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right, that's cool. So let's write the program and let's see how far. Okay. So in order for us to request for input, obviously we are going to call our scanner. I don't want to spend time writing scanner. Let me just copy it. Just copy it and now paste it. So I'll have to request for input. So system.out dot print, right? So what am I telling it? So I'm telling the user that enter the value, enter student grade or -1 to quit. So remember, -1 is the sentinel value. So you are now telling the students that it's either you enter the student grade or you enter -1 to quit, right? So we now have our grade. Our grade is equals to input dot, yeah. So that is it. So we'll now run our program. We'll now run our while program. And we're now telling you that if the grade is not equal to -1, right? I now want you to execute this program. If the grade is not equal to -1, I want you to now enter the loop and run this program, right? So we now want you to now take the total, same thing we did, the total number. We now want you to store it as the total plus that grade that the student have imputed, and this. Then we now want you to what? Same thing. Want you to count and run the loop again. Right? We now want you to plus 1 and run the loop again. Right? So that's what we're saying, right? So if this is this, I want you to add +1, then I want you to ask the same question again. So we'll copy this thing because it's now inside the while loop, right? So I want you to now I want you to ask the student again. The student impute, you go again. You ask the student again. The student impute. You keep running this program until the student ends the program by typing in -1. So if the student now type in -1, then you now have to run the next program. You now have to go to the next system. So mind you, now there are two conditions here, right? It means that there's a possibility that the student, you can enter a grade or a student here. So if you enter a grade, a valid number, which is not equal to -1, then you should do this. But if you now enter -1, what should now happen, right? So we'll now have to run an if statement, right, to determine that. So we'll now have if the grade counter, is not, equal to 0, right? That is there. He had to run a program, right? If it's not equal to 0, if it's not equal to 0, right? I want you to now calculate the average. It means that you're able to impute something. If it's not equal to 0, it means that, okay, you even imputed a value or two values, right? I want you to calculate the average, right? So, which is average is equal to, okay, let's do that stuff this guy asked. So double total divided by grade count. So now you know that at the first one, we knew the value, the total number of counts, which is 10, right? That is why the average of that one was total over 10. But for this one, we don't know how many times the user is going to impute. The user can decide to terminate the program at 2. He could decide to terminate it at 5 or at 10 or at 20, right? That is why we have this grade counter. We started at 0 and it's incrementing for each of the loop. So when it finishes or when it terminates, it gets the total number of time that program ran. So that is how you will now use to determine your average, right? So if the grade count was not equal to 0, I want you to calculate this, and I want you to display the average, right? So we will now probably copy. So in order for us to not waste time, so we just copy this stuff, right? So we'll copy it and we'll paste it as here. Yeah, so this is what we want to copy. So now, if this, we'll now have else, right? So we'll now have the else condition. So else, so so else means that, remember we said that enter student grade right? If it's valid, if it's a valid number, it should be able to enter this loop, right? And if it's not a valid number, it should not enter this loop. So it means that if it's not a valid number, it means that our grade counter will remain at 0. It means that it did not execute, it remains at 0, right? So it means that it will not be the else, because our grade counter is, for it to run, our grade counter is more than 0 for the valid number which will execute this. So for the program that did not run, so we'll now have to print a statement that no grade was entered, right? So system dot out dot print line on a different line. I would say no student didn't enter a grade. The program was terminated. Right? So yeah, that's basically it, right? So now let's run our program. So go to our tester. Let me comment this. I don't need it. So I'll call my grade book. Then display class average. Right? So let's run this program and let's see what happens.
Sorry, Barry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I noticed we did not declare the data type for total and the grid counter.
You mean
I don't
where
know, is
here?
there no need?
We
only
exactly?
initialized. Go up.
We declared it here. It's the first thing we did.
Okay. I didn't see that part. Okay.
Yeah, it's the first thing we did.
Okay.
All right. So we've run our program. It's telling us to, what's it telling us to do? We should enter student grade or -1 to quit. All right. Somebody should give me value.
Hmm. 69.
69. Okay. So 69, it has entered this program now. It has entered this while loop. All right. Let's keep giving me values.
Okay. 52.
52.
-1.
-1. Yeah, so our program terminates. It says the total number of requests is 121. The class average is this. So let me do something else. Let me copy. Let me print out the total number of counter. Total number of grade counter is, let me call grade counter. Okay, let's run this program. And let's run. Give me values.
Okay,
No,
55.
hold on first. Everyone on the call should give me values.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so everyone on the call should give me values.
Okay, 55. No, 88. Don't write 55. It's too late for that.
88. Yes.
77.
77.
78.
78.
-1.
Others have not given their value.
Okay.
Husseina,
96.
50.
100.
50. 100. Wow. Efosa,
I said 96.
96. Samuel, he's not here with us. All right. Since he's not here, he'll be the -1. Yeah. So as you can see, our total number of grades is 54. Total grade count is 7. Is it 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is 7. Our class average is this and this. So, yeah, are we clear on that? Any question?
Barry, please go to the grade book 7. I want to see. Oh, nice. Scroll down a bit, please. All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, so yeah, that's basically it today. So today we're able to run 2 programs. We looked at the counter controlled, where we know the total number of value, and we looked at the sentinel controlled repetition, where we don't know the total number of value, which is dependent on our user by imputing the sentinel value, which is -1 and stuff. So we looked at, so yeah, that's basically it. We've done grade book 6, done grade book 7, and yep. So I think that's it. Any questions so far?
Everybody, you called it Sentinel control, right?
Yeah, sentinel controlled.
Sentinel control.
Control.
Why the first one was
Counter control.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So please, I want everyone to be able to write their code and drop it on the group before Thursday, irrespective of whether your code was successful or not. Write your code, send screenshots between now and Thursday, right? So we'll see how it goes. Thursday is the end of July, and this our stuff is supposed to end in July. So yeah, tentatively Thursday might be the last section, but let's see how it goes. So yeah, so just drop your codes. If you have errors, if you've not gotten up to this point, try to get up to this point, right? So yeah, because there's a level of confidence that comes when you're able to know these things and you're in the exam hall, right? So you might not be a programmer, you might not know these things, but as long as you write your code, right, when you are faced with questions like that in the exam hall, you'll be able to remember some things, right? So for example, now we just differentiated between counter control and sentinel control. This kind of question could come up in the exam hall, and by virtue of just listening, you already know the difference between both of them. Even if you are not a programmer, at least you'll be able to remember. You must be able to remember, right? One way or the other. You might feel that you don't know it now, but once you are exposed to a challenge, right? You see that the things that you feel that you didn't know will just flash back. So yeah, just write your codes, drop them, especially this gradebook. In fact, all of them are important because as you can see in this code, in this program, we're able to In this program, we're able to impute multiple statements in the block, right? Whereas if we did not treat block, if we remove this, if we did not treat block, right, you have errors in this line because ideally the system is just recognizing only this and you're having multiple stuff. So with that block that we treated, you will now know that, okay, that is why we're able to write this and many more. So that is part of what we did at the early stage of this stuff. So everything is important. So just the codes are not plenty. See this one, just few codes. So don't let all these plenty things deceive you. Right? These just few codes. Right? Nested is few codes. So you just need to write the codes and yeah, it'll be good. All right, guys, I think we've spent a lot of time on this call. And yeah, so if in the absence of no other question, I'll stop sharing my screen now. Stop sharing. And yeah, that is it. So, Mr. Samuel, I don't know if you're back. Oh, I'm even the host. Oh, okay. So I think.
Oh, sorry, I stepped out a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. So I think when I stop sharing, this is going to save. Is it going to save for me or is it going to save for you?
It's going to say in the class, probably going to be my cloud.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome.
But
So,
I also streamed, so I should, in case there's any listing.
oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Then you share to the team. Okay. All right, that's cool then. All right. Thank you everyone for being on this call to this time. This is 10:20 already. So we will continue. We'll circle back on Thursday. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barry.
Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.